Welcome on a Saturday night here, Starving Artist Podcast Show. And happy Saturday night. So we want to start off today to giving a couple of shout outs to people out there because that's what we do. And we want to go ahead and support those small businesses out there. And we want to give a shout out today to Stella's Secret Door Boutique. You like shopping?
I love shopping.
You like clothes?
I love clothes.
Of course you are, because you're a woman.
Yes, that makes sense.
You know? Listen, let me tell you something. You got to go to Stella's because her stuff is amazing. Right. Shout out to Debbie and Joe. They're awesome. And their boutique is located at 6228 Amboy Road here in Staten Island. And they are open on weekends, but they're mostly in Instagram and on Facebook.
Okay.
And they have Chanel, they have Louis Vuittons, they have everything there. It's so yummy.
I need the information.
Yes. So shout out to them, Stella Secret Door Boutique. They're located out there. Check them out. I'll have a link at the end for the show, and you can check them out there. So February is full of events.
Yes, it is.
Let's see. February, we have the whole month, Black History Month. We have Valentine's Day.
All right.
We have also American Heart Association. So there's a lot of things going on, right?
Yes.
On February.
Yes.
So, and we want to give also a shout out for Black History Month, Shirley Chisholm. Yes. I hope I'm not breaking her name up, but God bless her. She was, and of course I have to look at my notes, right? Because, you know, she was an American politician, educator, and author. And in 1968, she became the first Black woman elected to United States Congress, representing New York's 12th Congressional District for 7 terms from 1969 to 1983. That's a long time.
It's a long time.
It's a long time. But she did wonderful things.
Yes.
And we want to give a shout out to Shirley. And God bless her. And we need more of that.
Yes, we do.
Definitely we need more.
Yes, we do.
So it's coming. It's coming because, you know, women like her,
Yes,
they were able to break down those doors and those barriers and
Yes.
basically be one of the first ones in Congress. So
it
shout out to
starts
Shirley.
with you.
It does.
It starts with you.
It does.
Each individual person being the best person that you could be, being the best you that you can be.
Yes.
This is how change happens. This is how impacts happen because
Definitely.
she was the best her
Yes.
that she was. And
She
that's
sure
why we had
was.
her.
She sure was. So God bless her to Shirley. Now, we're going to get back to the show. And we're going to introduce our guest. Our guest today is Jessica Encarnacion. I had a little bit of problem before with that last name.
Perfecto.
But I said, let me get it right.
Thank you.
So definitely, Jessica Encarnacion, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Yes.
Thank you for this platform.
Oh,
especially
thank you.
for Staten Islanders. We need more of this. So thank you guys.
Thank you on this cold and snowy, rainy, crazy day. So Jessica, she is the CEO and owner of Van Duzer Artisan Market. She's also the founder of Grace Business Academy. She's an educator, maker, and a mother.
Yes.
People's like, oh my God, really?
There's more to it, but that's the condensed version of.
Well, we'll get to the more.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to the more.
I'm
Definitely.
humbled.
Yes, and you're also a lifelong Staten Islander.
Lifelong Staten Islander, born and raised. I've always been on the North Shore. Right in this area here where we're at now is like my home. This is my home. There's so many memories here on these blocks, on these at the stores over here, my schools and everything. So people ask me over time, "Are you sure you're from Staten Island?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because they're like, "Oh, you're so different." I'm like, "Okay, I don't know what that's supposed to mean."
Right? It's like there's like a type.
There's like a type, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm just myself, and
Right.
you know, I'm different, and I love that." So I
Yes.
love Staten Island, believe it or not. We're not perfect, just like any family,
Of course.
but the North Shore of the Staten Island, specifically Stapleton, is my favorite area.
Yes.
The historic Stapleton is my favorite area. One, because of the beautiful houses and the history.
Oh, yes.
I think it's the most beautiful, and I
agree.
walked for so many years in Stapleton. It's just like, I know it like the back of my hand. So I absolutely love the little hidden crevices of Staten Island. So
Yes.
lifelong.
Listen, let me tell you, I moved here a while ago, and I didn't really know, like, so much of the history that was here in Staten Island.
Yes.
And of course, I live also on the North Shore. Actually, I'm like not even 5 minutes away from here.
That's perfect.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know, when I first moved here, you know, I started to like, okay, so what's up here? What's going on? You know, let me look. You know, and you start going through social medias and you start finding stuff, and
Yes,
and then I started to realize, wow, this is a historical landmark. You know, Stapleton is that.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
and as I walk, and I have a dog, so I always walk him, right? And I'm always like, you know, let me go through this route. Let me
Yes,
go through that
yes.
route. You know, and by the time I get home, my dog is like, oh.
But it's beautiful.
Yes.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Yes, and the houses. When you walk by, oh my God, what's that street? It's on Beach Street, Van Duzer and
Yes.
Beach.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So in that area there, you know, I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like the houses, like
Yes.
when you look back at it, they have pictures of it.
Yes.
And it's like, wow, that's amazing, you know? And I love that because it is rich in history.
Rich in history, especially just that block you were talking about, Van Duzer, and
Yeah.
that's why my business is named
Yes.
the way it's named, is because Van Duzer is one of the favorite blocks for me.
Yeah.
But I have personal ties to Van Duzer, but also there were so many creative things that was birthed out of me
Right.
on Van Duzer Street.
Right.
So it was kind of like paying homage to my childhood and then opening up people to a piece of my childhood through my business. It's really interesting.
Well, we want to talk about that a little bit more because I
Yes.
know that you also have created a lot of events, and you also run an artist market as well.
Yes, yes.
And also, I know that you started your business within a cafe.
It's yeah, very interesting, and there's so many not even variations, but reasons why I started it. But the idea for the market came about actually way over 10 plus years ago now.
Yeah.
So once I was in high school, so I went to Fashion Industries High School.
Right.
In the city on 24th Street. And I started, by the time I was in high school at 14, I already had been sewing for 8 years. I started sewing at 8 years old on Van Duzer Street. Thanks to my awesome mother in heaven. She, you know, I learned how to sew, braid hair, and tie my shoe like all at the same time. And my sister taught me how to braid. My mom taught me how to sew. And those two things actually, those two skills traveled with me
Right.
throughout even into my adulthood. So people are surprised. You'll be surprised by when you learn a skill as a young person,
Right.
and you become like really good at it. That is something that you can carry on with you, and that may turn into some sort of generator of income,
Right.
because of this skill that you have, that you
Right.
think, oh yeah, I know how to sew out of the braid. That aspect of me learning how to sew at 8 and preparing me for 8 years for high school,
Right.
not in Staten Island. My mom, who was from Brooklyn, ultra creative, when she went to Staten Island, she cried. She was like, what the heck is this? Like, she was crying. There's no stores. There's no. She was just looking at my dad like, are you kidding me? Like, we are in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
But they built this life here.
Yes.
They built this life. And things were, more affordable in Staten Island compared to the other boroughs.
Yeah.
A little bit more family friendly, even though there still was racism.
Yeah.
There still was racism. We still have experiences now.
I know.
But my family being a multiracial,
Right.
where everything under the sun. My father's Puerto Rican. My mother was Arubian, Bermudian, Native American. Everything under the sun. I'm
Lord.
every
That's
ethnicity.
United Nations.
I'm United Nations. And she was like, Staten Island. Oh my gosh, she couldn't stop crying. But then, me and my brother came. My sister was here, and we were all together. And when it came time for high school, I don't know what, to this day, and I have to ask my dad, I don't know what she did to convince my awesome Puerto Rican father that his daughter, who's 14, is going to go to the city by herself.
Oh, my Lord.
On a boat and a train by herself.
Lord have mercy.
So I don't know what she did, but whatever she did, it worked. And he allowed me to go to high
Gotta
school.
love those Puerto Rican men,
Yes,
right?
yes. He allowed me to go to school in the city, and that changed my life forever.
Yeah.
Living in Staten Island and going to schools in the city changed my life forever because I met other people that were like me in the sense that they were not afraid to be themselves,
right?
That they were not afraid to be different and look different,
right?
And they were just like, hey, you love it or you leave it. Like, I don't care.
Exactly.
I really don't care. And
Right.
at that time, going into school, I went into fashion design and I was sewing, draping, pattern making every single day for 4 years.
Why didn't you become a fashion designer?
So that was the plan. That was the plan. That was always my plan as a child was to be a fashion designer and an archaeologist.
Oh.
And I said I was gonna be the flyest archaeologist. Okay. But because I love history.
Yes, yes.
I love it. And in Staten Island, I felt I was just going on this like adventure.
Right.
Because my mother had us in every single museum,
Oh
every
my
single
God.
park. In the weekends, we were in every single place in Brooklyn and stuff. We were doing every single thing that was free. We were there.
You see, those
We were
free
there,
events.
and she would bring her water and her snacks or whatever. We
Okay.
would eat in the city. She'll bring her food in the bag.
Oh, old school,
because
man.
it's old school.
Old
and the movie
school.
theaters with the popcorn in the back. Puerto Rican style. That was my mom and my dad.
That's so funny.
And we just learned how to just make it work on the little bit whatever we had, and the creativity, it just prepared me for high school. And I said, okay, I'm gonna do fashion design. I'm gonna be a designer. I'm gonna go to FIT, and a miracle, happened. I got into FIT, which was very competitive in my school. My high school, literally, shout out Fashion Teachers High School. They groom you and prepare you 4 years for this college.
Wow.
So just imagine all your classmates.
Yeah.
They're drawing these amazing portfolios, and I'm like, man, I can't. I'm doing like a stick figure. I'm like, I could sew, but I couldn't really, I could draw, but it wasn't on the level that I felt that I should have been just in competition wise.
Right.
And I said, okay, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to get into fashion design with Picasso to my left, and
it's
like that's
intimidating a little
Rembrandt
bit.
to my right.
know.
Like that's not going to happen.
I
So
know.
I said, okay, I have to be untraditional. This is how I started the business. You have to be, untraditional, and a visionary is someone who sees something that others don't see.
Right.
Right. So thinking outside of the box, inside the box.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, you know what? Let me look into the school. They have pattern making. Do you need a portfolio for pattern making? No, you don't. So I said, okay, I don't need a portfolio. I am gonna go to FIT for pattern making, and I got in for pattern making.
All right.
And I said, oh my God, thank God. I can't believe this. I got in. And then it was time for us to start the classes. I go to admissions, and they're like, I'm sorry to tell you, but the pattern making program is closed. I said,
oh, that sucks.
excuse me? Does this mean I'm not in FIT? Please don't. I almost...
Oh my God, devastation.
Devastation. And she said, no. You just pick another major. I said, okay, go. There's another major called production management.
Right.
I said, what the heck is that? what is that?
What is that?
I don't know what it was. She was like, oh, it's the business side of fashion. So production management and fashion related industries, it shows you everything to do with the concept of the idea. It walks you through in producing the product, pricing at the product, packaging the product, and getting that product on the shelf. They show you the whole supply chain management and how that's done.
That's the back scene.
And it's the back scene, and production management is in every single type of product and business, right?
Right.
So I said, wow. They said you could apply that anywhere. I said, okay, sure. I have a choice.
At this
I don't have a
point, right?
portfolio, so that's what I
Right.
went in, and I said, oh, I'm gonna do 2 years of that, and then do the other 2 years in fashion design. It didn't work out that way because by the time I finished the 2 years, all my friends who got into fashion design
Right.
were like, they were dropping out. And I'm like, why would you drop out? You got into
Yeah.
fashion design. I
Right.
want to go in. They said, no, Jessica, don't go. Stay in the business. I'm like, okay. They're like, no, I wish I did what you did. I said, really?
Well, why was the turnoff?
Because it was so competitive and the pressure was so much
Really?
that people were just dropping out. And I'm talking my friends who were like really good designers, that they were just freaking out, the pressure. And I was shocked. I said, okay, well, let me stay where I'm at with that. So that's how that came about
That's
with the
crazy.
business side.
Well, there you go. I mean, it worked out, I guess.
It worked
you
out,
know?
and this is where, because by the time I was 18, about to graduate, I had my first fashion show, and then once I went into FIT for business, it kind of, I don't want to say dried up, but it kind of put me in a different state where as anyone who's creative,
Yeah.
you need to be in a sort of environment that's going to
Yep.
be conducive to creativity. And if you're not, I was just strictly in business. The business side kind of like put me in a different lens. So then I kind of pulled back. And then by the time I graduated, at that time, they were doing, and they're still doing, every Thursday they have a flea market for the past like 30 plus years, like forever.
Right.
And I said, okay, you know what? They have this flea market on the grounds. Like, let me check it out. I want to, make some coin.
Okay.
And I just went applied. I didn't really know what I was doing. They just give you a table. You spend whatever the amount of money for a certain amount of hours.
Right.
And then I said, okay, I'm going to try it out. At that time, I was like really avid vintage collector. I had a couple pieces that I had made. And then I had some friends who were making accessories and stuff like that. And I said, okay, I'm going to try it out.
Right.
My mother had came with me. And then I set up the table. I made it kind of like my home, like really eclectic.
Yeah.
And people were like, okay, what is this? And then I had like a little boom box with house music because I love house music.
That's right.
And things were selling. And these are like, and I'm like, okay, this is different. And then I said, okay, maybe I have something here. And I kept on doing certain Thursdays. And then there was some sort of traction. I'm like, okay,
Right.
I will come from Staten Island. And then it became a thing
Right.
where I said, you know what, I'm going to make this kind of like, even though this is my table and then there's, it's a huge space.
Right.
There's other students and alumni that's there, that's selling, all different type of things. Really cool setup. I said, you know what, I'm going to make my table kind of like a mini pop-up.
Right.
I'm going to make this a mini pop-up market, and I'm going to give it a name, and then I'm going to make flyers and a mailing list and this whole...
You was ahead of the game.
Yeah, this whole thing. And then at the time, the business was called Miss J's Treasure Chest because I loved vintage, and it was really just kind of like, you would come to my table, it would be treasures from the past and present. It was just like you going into a treasure sense. I would bring vintage luggages. And
That's awesome. So you have a little setup.
I had a whole setup. And then from there, I collaborated with my friend Angeline, who had a vintage shop out here.
Right.
By the time I met her, I didn't even know her that much, but I said, hey, I love your stuff, what you're doing. You want to collaborate with me and go to my college and do these pop-ups? She said, hell yeah. We went, oh my God.
You won't know if you don't ask.
We would bring bags and bags of stuff. It was crazy. We had a red carpet. We had a boom box. We had,
She had it all.
a rug. We had pillows, luggages.
But that's how you attract people.
And it was this traveling. That was the whole concept of the traveling marketplace. We would travel from Staten Island to the city
Oh my
and
God.
make this pop-up market. And it just became this thing where people knew, okay,
Right.
we got to go Thursday between this time and this time. And we have the rolling rack, mannequin. I mean, we had everything. People like, how are you on a train from Staten Island and doing this?
I know.
And it just became this thing. And I said, wow, I wish we had this in Staten Island.
Yes.
I wish we had this in Staten Island. And this ties back to that experience. And I said, you know what? There's something special about this.
Right.
But it needs to have a certain location. But the location has to be a special location.
Right.
So that's how you mentioned with the cafe, Veronica.
Yeah. Shout out to Veronica.
Shout out. It's Vetto's now. She's at Vetto's at Foreman Thorn. Shout out. But she originally was Doozer's Cafe,
Yes.
387 Van Doozer. And as I was walking frequently past her cafe before it became a cafe, I would see the glass and I see stuff going on, and I'll be like in the window like every day like this. And I'm like, when are you opening?
Right.
And I became like her first customer because I was just like window stalking every single day. I'm like, oh my God, because I remember, because I lived on that, on that block, that Doozer's was right across the street from where it used to be Muddy Cup Cafe.
Oh.
So Muddy Cup Cafe was, at one point a staple cafe in the community.
Right.
It was this beautiful, it was like another home for me, but I actually had lived in that building.
Isn't that now, it has like dark windows or something?
It's the building itself is like a part of two buildings, and there's like a little connector.
Right.
So there's like one part that's kind of like a music situation, and then there's another part that now I think is like a tattoo thing, and then so it's changed over time. Before a certain amount of years, before it was the Muddy Cup Cafe, it was bakery, it was art gallery. I've seen it in all different phases. Yeah. Across the street was another bakery. There was a glass store, a vintage shop for mood swings. That's where, yeah.
Right next to Hop Chop.
Yes. And she had actually two locations.
Yeah.
So
she was an elderly lady.
Yes,
right?
yes.
She was so sweet.
She's awesome.
My
mom knew her forever. My school bus stopped in front of her shop, so I will go in there and look at the old vintage patterns and the clothes. That was one of the first vintage shops I've ever experienced. And I remember that as a child. And that's how I initially started the business, with the essence of treasures from my childhood, when I remember going to that shop. Right. And Veronica, when she finally opened and I walked in, and I was like, oh my God, this place, it looks like it's been there forever.
It's like she finally opened.
It was like,
I'm done staring through the window.
Yeah, because there wasn't, at that time, there was no other cafe in many, many years. Right. Because Muddy Cup was closed for so long, but it used to be a place where it was exposed brick. Yeah. You would just walk in. It was old vintage couches.
It felt homey.
It was homey. There were books. There was a cafe in the back. It was open mic, so I would do a lot of open mic poetry and music, live music. It just was really like a home, and all ages were there. I loved it. I was there for many years. So once they weren't, no longer existent, and then Veronica opened up, and there was other stuff in between as well, but it wasn't the same vibe. Once she opened up, I said, wow, who is this? I gotta, meet her. I want to get to know, and we just automatically connected, and I just became, this customer who was there like every day because I loved it so much. And then it became like this other place where I would work. I would bring my laptop. My son loved her family, her mother.
She's a wonderful
person. And that just opened up, this awesome relationship. And then one day I was coming up with a project called Hands of Our Community Project. And I needed a space to do it. And this is something that actually I was doing for free for the community, teaching weaving and poetry writing. It was a project that I felt led by, like God led me to do this project. Yes. And I just went to her and said, hey, Veronica,
listen,
I'm doing this project. Yeah, if you don't ask. And I was like, hey, I'm doing this project. I want to do these workshops, and I want to create a piece of artwork with the weaved items that people are going to be making that I'm showing them. I want to make a collage, and I would love to use your space for it, and then we could hang the artwork in your cafe. She's like, yeah. I'm like, what? Okay.
I know. It's like, you gotta like, what? She said yes?
Yeah, she said yes. And then that started, I did 7 sessions at her cafe, and then it just became, I had like my little speaker. We had the house music in the background.
I love it. I love it.
And that's how that started, with doing these sort of workshop events in her space. And then after we did several sessions of that, it was over a course of a couple months.
Right.
Then that's when the FIT markets came back to my recollection. And I'm like, you know what? I've already tried this type of events before. I want to do it in this cafe because it just was like a home. People were not leaving. So once I created the atmosphere, people didn't want to leave the cafe. We were always like, she would stay later for us. And I'm like, wow, okay, this is different. And then I asked her, I said, hey, I want to do a holiday market.
Right.
She's like, sure. And that's how it started. I already had the idea, already had the concept and everything like that. But having it in that particular space on Van Duzer was really special. And that's what made it very different.
And how long ago was that?
This was maybe 2017. Literally when she opened, within that same, it had to be within the same year.
Yeah.
That we started having it there.
Yeah, because I remember I used to see a lot of the events that you guys were holding, and I'm like, oh, what's going on over here?
Unexpected.
Unexpected. And let me tell you, I have to have a confession, right? Okay. Jessica, I never met Jessica before these times, right? So I started to do my events, my markets. And I was looking for locations too. And I was looking for places too to hold the events. So every time there was something going on, you was there.
Wow.
And I was like, who is this woman?
Oh, wow.
Who is she?
And
then I asked Joe, I was like, who is this Jessica girl?
What?
Who is she? Why is she always in the way?
Oh my gosh. Not even knowing.
But here we are, right? I'm telling you, that's how life is. It's so funny.
Yes.
But Joe was like, oh no, she's a wonderful girl. She's doing a lot of stuff and this and that. You should get together with her. I'm like, what? No. She's like, no. I was like, I want to talk to this Jessica. So I think I emailed her and I wanted to find out what were you doing.
Oh my.
You see, I'm so sneaky, man.
Listen. People, if you email me, I'm sorry, it gets lost in the sauce. You may not hear from me. I'm so serious. And I'm wearing my glasses. Please note, if you see me, I have to say this because people know me. People in the neighborhood say, Jessica, I be waving to you. You don't say
she's
hi.
Like, whatever.
Like really? So you're like, you were saying I was there, but I don't remember because if I don't have my glasses on, people think I could see.
I know, right?
But I actually cannot see you. So people say, oh, you were ignoring me, or I was at such and such event, and you didn't see me. Please, guys, don't take it to offense. Legit, I cannot see you. So if you don't see me with glasses on my face and you're waving to me from whatever, Western Beef, so many people, oh my God, I was in the car, I was waving to you. I'm like, I didn't see you. I'm sorry. For years. And I'm like, okay, all right, I gotta wear my glasses no matter how they look. So please. So now you're saying like you were there. I don't remember because I just got these glasses.
Okay, whatever. And
oh my gosh.
But it was a little, I felt that way because, well, let me tell you.
Staten Island's small though. It's a small little microcosm.
It's like, big old circle. But I just say it because I laugh about it now. But it was just,
Thank you. No, thank you for your honesty. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I had to say it because I'm like, you know what? I just got to tell Jessica about this.
Now I know.
Yeah, you know. But you know what's good about it? Because now, because we know each other.
Yes.
We know what we do and what what it is. We have a lot of similarities of the same passion. And it'll bring us to a point that, God willing, perhaps we could collaborate on something bigger in the future. So, no competition, no nothing, no, it's just straight up for the community.
It's everyone has a different style. And
That's
what I love about Staten Island. There's so many different types of artists. There's so many different types of musicians and people who are creating things. And there's something for everyone.
Yes.
Not everybody has the same niche and style, and so everything has its, so building environments according to like what is leading you,
right? And
that is going to draw the people that's going to grab, that is the customer base for whatever that is that everybody is working on. So that's what I like about it. And that's why I chose unconventional spaces, because I said, I want to do something different, but curate it according to the space I was in.
Right.
Which we need more space.
Yeah, we sure do.
We need more space, but how many people could fit in this cafe?
I know. It was small, but
and we had to try to fit, so it was like challenging to kind of how to fit it and curate it and everything. So definitely
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot, even though you think, okay, huge spaces, small spaces also requires a lot of planning and a lot of coordination. And we had DJs and music, and because it was really, really tight. With the vendors, without the vendors, it still was a cozy, but with 6-foot tables and
I know
all these other things, it became, but
how did you guys fit all of that?
I don't know. It was a miracle. We cleared out every single one of her tables and started clean every time, and she would stay late, and it just was this little kind of like it. The way I made it was kind of like my home.
Right.
So things that I've experienced as a child, and my father, who's a foreman, who also is a DJ, house music DJ.
That's where you get your house music.
The house music is in my blood.
Yes.
So house music is in every single thing that I do. So that I'm like, okay, that's in the background. And then having the eclectic vintage pieces and the jewelry and the people who are making natural bath and body products.
Because you created your own environment.
I created my own environment reflecting from my childhood. And then I had it where when people would walk in, it would be this welcoming thing. Right. Even if I didn't know the person, they were like, wow, it kind of feels like home. And that was my intention, to make it kind of feel like home, filling it with things that remind me of my childhood.
Right.
That's how that happened, but just needing more space to do that.
I know.
Yeah.
But you started there, and that was it's a beautiful thing. And shout out to people who are like Veronica.
Yes.
That, allow these things to happen in their establishments, because it's hard to put yourself out there, and when you don't have that opportunity and time that people can give you, it's hard.
Yes.
That's why I was like, who is this girl? Who is she? I'm only kidding.
But God knows.
Yeah.
God knows, and now everything has shifted and changed, but it's one of those things you don't know until you're in it, and then you're like, okay, you know what, this works, this doesn't work. Right. And seeing like, okay, you know what, in certain settings, this is how much we could fit, in other settings we could do more. And what does collaboration look like?
Right.
And how to serve. It's hard because we can't serve everyone, but how to create something that's eclectic, that is going to, get whatever that customer base is.
Right.
So through what you have done, you have learned as well, and that journey also have led you here to say, hey, I have my business, but then we're going through the pandemic, and I want to bring other people in, and interview them and have them, you didn't have to do that. But something called you to say, hey, I'm going to do something different.
Definitely.
This is different.
It sure is different. Let me tell you, because, once, like you said, throughout the pandemic, I mean, I've had a lot of cancellations since of course, we're making a year from this.
Yes.
And we're still going through it. And, small businesses are still suffering. And, restaurants and stuff like that. And, even non-essential, essential, we're all still going and trying to find other means and ways to be creative and stay
Yes.
above,
Yes, yes.
So, I felt like, there was a lot of loss happening. And, but I did not want to give up. And I said,
it.
you know what? I don't want to give up. I don't want to because I enjoy doing it. And let me
Yes.
tell you, you learn a lot. I learned a lot for these past 2 or 3 years that I was doing it. And I met a lot of great people,
yes.
beautiful, creative people, ambitious and wanted to put their stuff out there. And, I loved that and I missed it. And it's like, how do I continue this,
Okay, yes.
So I the opportunity came here at the hub.
Oh, okay.
Where there was doing the podcasting.
Oh,
so I was
okay.
like, you know what, let me try that out, let me see how that works.
Yes.
And I like to talk.
Okay. So do I. So do I.
So why not put a mic in front of me, right? So there you go. But it was a little hard because I was like, okay, how do I, get all of these people to come on, and people were scared because of the pandemic and
Yes.
but once I told them what I was doing, then I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds really good. So I started to build a little bit, and everything takes time.
Yes.
You
Yes,
know,
it does.
everything takes time to build, and and if you have something that just shoots right off the foot, and you make it amazing,
Yes.
then that's a blessing.
Yes.
But it's also a
Yes.
blessing when you work at it,
Yes,
and you build
yes.
upon it, and you
Yes.
build those layers. And the most
Definitely.
important part that I always say is, as you're building, you always have to watch who is around you and watch you building it.
Yes.
Because not
Yes.
everybody has good intentions,
No,
And, those negativities
Yeah.
and everything, you always try
Yeah.
to stray from.
Yes.
But you always try to keep positive people and, people who are always going to support you in that
Yes.
perspective.
Yes.
So that's how it is.
Oh my gosh.
So Jessica, I know that you're also working on other programs, and I know that you
Yes.
have your Grace Academy.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more on how you started, what influenced you to do that, and what is it about?
Oh my gosh, where to start? This is kind of like my other baby that so as a young person, knowing I always wanted to start a business, and then after it taking like 10 years
Yeah.
for it to actually be like, I was working in it, but for I say 10 years as far as up until the point that I actually got that business certificate.
Right.
Right? But I was already doing the work before then. I always knew that I wanted to help other people.
Right.
I just didn't know how. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to have to like officially start in order to like
Right.
do anything on paper.
Right.
And then once I did that, other people started kind of gravitating toward me. Like, how did you do that?
Right.
And I'm like, okay. And I was just kind of giving them all the tips on what I did. And then they were doing it.
Right.
And then they were opening up businesses. I said, oh, okay, it works.
Right.
It works. And the women, and it was primarily women coming to me. And then after me just kind of working at it, and then there was something I felt was missing, I said, okay, well, I keep on giving this advice. I'm giving kind of like the same thing. I'm packaging it up and giving it to people
Right.
a lot.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I should do something with this information.
Right.
Because it actually is working. So in prayer, I am a spiritual person. In
Yes.
prayer, God kind of just told me, I want you to do something with this, and I want you to help other people also start their own business. Because what I've learned working for a human services company and just helping other adult learners in different areas of their life, what I've learned is that a 9-to-5 job doesn't work for everyone.
Oh, I feel what you're
It doesn't
talking.
work
Yes.
for everyone.
Right.
So sometimes you got to make your own job.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to make your own job. And if it's not taught to you, or
Right.
if you don't have family members, I come from a long line of entrepreneurs.
Right.
If it's something that's like not in your blood and you didn't really see it,
Right.
it is hard. So it took me a long time. I did many programs. I was in the fast track, new venture program. I did so many competitions. I did so many things that
Right.
so many mentors and score and everything that people were like, what the heck? I said, yeah, it took 10 years to do that. But I condensed it and gave it to people. And within like months, they were opening up businesses. And I'm like, wow, I wish I would have had that when I started. And God was like, now you could teach someone else.
That's right.
And that's how it happened. Grace Business Academy was just out of a need to want to serve other people and say, hey, this is as you come up, as God lifts you up, you say, hey, you know what? I want to lift you up too.
Right.
I want to lift you up. So how can I lift you up as well and get you to the point where the idea of creating generational wealth
Right.
for your family and your community. So you think about each person especially Staten Island that's going to open up a business that's creating new jobs, new opportunities for our community. It's uplifting our community. That one person is uplifting our community.
Definitely.
So just imagine how many people are touched from that one person.
Right.
That is my mission and that is my goal. And really the heart of it also was because I'm a domestic violence survivor.
Yes.
And after that experience and when I had to really separate myself and cleanse my environment of that situation, that is when I actually had the freedom to open the business on paper.
Yes.
And then that freedom catapulted me, including meeting Joe Bottega, catapulted me to another level I can't even explain. That 10 years was like 1 minute.
Yes.
So I knew that freedom with that, and then also, the support services that I received with my healing process.
Right.
That element I added into my mission for Grace Business Academy. Say, hey, I want to also personally train domestic violence survivors.
That's
and
awesome.
How I did this from that standpoint, because as a DV survivor, especially as a mother, there's certain things you have to do a little differently.
You do.
That may involve other steps and support services to kind of get you ready and prepare, get your soil ready for your business seed. So that's the extra thing that I add on to that, where right before I created the academy, I, not knowingly, but then it became knowing, I became an advocate. Just naturally, I became an advocate throughout the years. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna call a Grace Advocacy Group.
Right.
And I've helped a number of women through the processes of surviving after the fact and what they need as far as support services to get to that next level of safety. So that requires a lot of stuff regarding connecting to certain community organizations, Staten Island Family Justice Center, Siemens, all these other places. And people thought I worked for them. I said, no, I don't work for them, but this helped me.
Right.
So I said I would package all that information and give it to these survivors so frequently. I'm like, okay, I'm giving it like every day.
Right.
Every day I'm giving this information out. And I'm like, I got to do something with this, because there's just no way that so many people are gravitating to me, specifically who are DV survivors. That's not a coincidence.
Let me tell you something about that. Let's pause on that for a minute, because myself as well, I was a domestic violence victim of my first husband. And this was years ago. This was in the 80s, right? Oh, my God. So, I was a young mom. Yeah. I had my kids. I was married early, I was 17, 18 years old, so I was a kid. And, when you go through something as that bad at that age, it's very traumatizing. You never forget it. It always leaves emotional scars, but you must move on.
Yes.
And you recognize it, because a lot of girls, they don't. They think, oh, it's just because of how he is. He's so jealous. No. And I thought that same way,
Me too.
But you know, through a lot of prayer, through a lot of, because my mom, she's also Christian Pentecostal, and I was raised in the church.
Yes, yes.
So, you know, going through that, and, you know, my mom suffering and seeing me going through that as a young woman, when I went through those moments, and, you know, you go to the hospital, you know, getting taken care of, there wasn't a lot
No.
of services in those days. And I'm talking about over 30 years ago. Because my daughter's 33 going on 34.
Okay.
So, you know, when she was a baby, you know, we didn't have that. You know, they will make a report in order of protection, but that was it. There wasn't something where there was a program really
Yes.
where they'll take you in and educate you and give you the resources that you needed in order for you to be able to get out of that environment.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So when you're telling me about this now, I am so happy to hear that we have evolved.
Yes.
And we have been able to really pay attention to how bad, you know, a domestic violence situation can be. And it's not only women, men go through
Men
that too.
go through it.
You know, just because they're men.
Transgender go
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah.
Any person, animals go through. Anyone
Yeah.
can be abused, and for me, it's been mainly. I did have one man that came to me, that I helped out, but majority has been women, and
Right.
and then it just happened to be that way. But as I'm glad you mentioned that, because you'll be surprised the number of men that experience
Yeah.
this, all different types of abuses.
Yes.
And as you said, and I'm glad you brought that up as well, is that some you don't know. I didn't know.
Right. Right.
And the assumption is domestic violence, because the name is really, really harsh. So
It is.
I never in my brain was like, oh, no, I just think, oh, this is an unhealthy relationship, but that was not something that
Right.
clicked in my brain.
Right.
But what it is that it's mental.
Yes.
It's it's not just physical. It's mental. It's psychological. It's emotional. It's even spiritual, financial. Those abuses are no joke.
No, they're not.
And then at some point, it may not be in that particular order, physical. And once it gets physical,
Oh yeah, that's it. It's over.
once it gets physical,
That's it.
the goal is not life.
It's not.
The light, there's no that at that point is beyond past control.
Yeah, that's it.
And sometimes it doesn't even have to get to the physical for you to still have a sort of breaking down.
I think personally, I could only speak from my experiences, but personally, I think that you know, you could get punched in the face, a
Yeah.
bruise
Yeah.
will go away, but words,
Our power.
and they scar you for life.
Yes.
And it's
Yes,
mental.
they can. Yes, they can.
I think personally mental abuse is more stronger, and it lasts with you longer
Yeah.
than getting punched in the face.
Yeah, me personally as well, I from my personal experience, I do agree as well. I was just talking to actually another survivor the other day about that.
Yeah.
That the mental leaves such a scar, and
Yes.
people can't see it.
Right.
That it can take a very long time to get past that. But I want people to know, because I don't think it's a coincidence we're talking about this. Whoever is listening,
Yes.
I want you to know that there's help. Yes, we're on Staten Island. Yes, we're on the island. We are on the island. But there is help. There is the
Yes.
Staten Island Family Justice Center right on Stuyvesant near the ferry.
There you go.
There is Seaman Society on Bay Street right near the ferry.
Right.
There is DV Project. There is Safe Horizon. There's so many. Rima's New Life Center is where I started going to counseling. Therapy is healing.
Yeah.
Don't be intimidated. And I know a lot of our people of color,
Yes. Yes.
it can be a taboo, especially
You're right.
Puerto
Speak
Rican.
on it. Speak on it, Jessica.
It can be a taboo.
Yes.
My family did not go.
Yep.
And God had to wake me up and say, you need help.
Yes.
Because when you're in an abusive relationship, it don't start at the relationship.
Right.
It starts from years and years and years and years. Baby, you in a diaper.
Yes.
Years and years and years and years. Maybe your mother, your father, your grandmother, your great grandmother. This is not just you. This is
Right.
generational stuff.
Yes.
This
It's
is
true.
generational stuff. So there's things that you have to unlearn
Yes.
as far as what a healthy relationship should look like and what it should not look like. If it was
Definitely.
never taught, because you're looking at visual cues, you're not going to know when it happens.
Right.
And you're going to be shocked. Like, I can't believe I didn't know.
Right.
I was in it. And then you're in it and you're like, what?
Yeah. It's like you're blinded.
You're physically blinded.
I think it's
Like,
also spiritually.
and it's a spiritual blinding, like legit,
Yes.
like rose-colored glasses all the time.
Yeah.
And you don't know until you lift up the glass. You're like, oh my God, now I can see clearly, and that's what happened to me. And there's so many levels to that. So letting people know there is help.
Right.
You have to want it. You have to say, you know what, enough is enough.
Right.
And there's different numbers and things that you can even text if your abuser is next to you, and then you could text a certain number, and then
Yeah.
there's so many different things.
There is.
Even when if you need to call the cops, there's other things as far as there's a DV unit, in the police precincts, and you could ask for a DV detective.
Yeah.
You could ask for a DV officer that has a little bit more, because not all officers are versed in that.
Right. Right.
So then when you're calling, it's going to be a little bit different, and you may feel discouraged. Don't feel discouraged.
Right,
It's just having the tools to know. So there's women's empowerment groups.
Yes.
There's a lot of information when you go to different community centers. Take advantage of that.
Right.
And listen, I'm here. Y'all could connect me even through the business page or whatever. If you want those resources, I will. It's not a problem. I am not getting paid to be an advocate. This is me out of my heart.
No, definitely. And you know what? And I'm
the
glad
service.
that you mentioned all of these agencies and all of these help.
Yes.
And I'm gonna get that from you, so
Yes.
I could also put it on
Yes.
The Facebook page.
Yes, for sure.
After the show.
Definitely.
We need to know that, because there's a lot of girls out here. I mean, I have a 17-year-old great niece, and she has friends, and say, oh, he's just playing, and
He ain't playing.
I'm like, listen, once you let that slide once, twice, three times, they're gonna keep on doing it, and they think, and then you're gonna think it's okay.
Yeah, because you don't know.
Exactly.
You don't know. You're like, oh yeah, no.
And the worst part is, when these girls, they're so young, and they bring a child into the relationship, and that gets more tricky. It gets more worse situation.
It's dangerous.
And it's scary.
It's very scary. It's very scary.
Yes, it is. But that's why
Yeah.
women out there, they have to know the signs.
Yeah.
Don't ignore them. There's help out there. It's not like it was when I was in that situation. There was very, very limited resources for that.
Yes.
And there wasn't a lot of awareness as there is now.
Yes.
And I wished that was available to me at that time. But it's a very scary situation.
Yes.
Just a side note, me and my ex-husband were best of friends now.
People heal.
And,
People heal.
We do.
There's healing.
You forgive and you move
Yes.
on, and we share a family. My children, they're his biological children. We have a grandson now.
Okay,
So
yes.
you wanna have that person still involved.
If it's
because
safe, I
if
have
it-
to add
yes.
in if it is safe.
It's safe.
Yeah.
Well,
so
my
for her
situation
situation is safe,
It's
and
safe,
and it's a blessing,
It
and it's a
is.
miracle,
It is.
because there's healing. There's healing
There's
on both
healing.
ends.
You forgive. You move
Yes,
on.
yes.
And I was, because of that, because of the
Wow.
forgiving. He's still able to be in the family.
That's amazing.
And it's a good thing. We were young. We were kids. We didn't know any better. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And as we grew older, we realized the mistakes that we've done, and we talked about it. We forgave. All the situations,
powerful.
and but a lot of people don't have that.
No.
And a lot of people, they still stay with anger and
Yes.
resentment and revenge.
You have to let it-
And every time you see them, because you share a child, you want to kill them, and
That's
all
not
that stuff.
healthy.
It's not healthy.
And it makes you sick.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to get, your counseling, your therapy, your support group, your empowerment group, talking to your pastor at church or whatever. There's so many different things that you can do as an individual person to heal yourself. If you don't heal yourself,
you're not good for nobody.
You're not good for no one, especially if you're a parent. You got to be on your stuff.
Yeah,
you cannot be. No, you have to be healed. You have to be healed, and especially if there's other factors that's involved that you have to get, certain legal things taken care of. You have to be together and healed.
You surely do. But you know what? I love that we were able to talk about that.
Yes.
Because we really do have to bring more awareness of that.
Yes.
So we're running out a little bit of time. I just wanted to also recap on the Grace Business Academy. So how can people come to you? What is it that I believe it's a 12-week entrepreneurship program?
Yes. Actually, it's becoming longer now because I'm just having so much fun. Right now, I am doing it online, virtually, with the JCC Beacon program at IX 49. So if you want to join us, we meet up once a week on Zoom. By all means, y'all can reach out to me. They have my Van Duzer Artisan Market business page on there. You could reach me throughout there as well, and I could give you the information to fill out the application with JCC, and then from there, they bring you on, and then I pretty much am teaching everything I know.
That's good.
I'm throwing in the bag. I'm pouring myself out with the mission of creating generational legacy in our communities.
Yes.
That is my mission. That is my purpose. That is my goal, to help whoever get to that point.
Right.
If you're feeling like you're led to open up a business, or you already started something, but you feel like, okay, I need a little bit more support in that area.
Right.
There's a group of us on there, and you're going to get, you're going to get some feedback. You're going to get support. You're going to get some, hey, you can do this. Sometimes you just need a nudge. Sometimes you just need somebody in your corner to say, hey, you got this. Because not everyone in your family is going to understand your business.
Definitely.
Not every one of your friends is going to understand it. It's not meant for everyone to understand.
Right.
If you're a visionary, you see something somebody else doesn't see.
Definitely.
And it's going to be feeling lonely. I'm just letting you know, you're going to feel lonely. You're going to feel like you're bugging out. Oh my God, am I the only one? And then it's going to be haters.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. And it could even be your closest family or friends.
Oh, yeah.
It happens, because
happen.
they just don't, everything is not for everyone. It's okay. Not everybody's called to be an entrepreneur. That's fine.
Definitely.
But if you are, don't feel alone. There is support for you. And that is my goal, along with so many other supports on the island, that if you don't look, you're not going to find it.
Definitely.
If you don't look, you're not going to find it. So score.org is here. There's an office out here. You can get your free mentor. SBD, Small Business Development Center. Right. That's where I get my awesome counseling from Joe Bottega. He changed my life.
Yes.
Because he got my vision the first day I met him. Yeah. And then that's how it became the way it is. I went through many mentors. I'm not going to say how many. That just didn't understand my vision. Like, oh, you're going to do all that and that? I'm like, yeah, and there's more. And they're like, what? I'm like, you don't see it? And they're looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, it's common sense to me. But that's what happens when people don't see your vision.
It's true. And it's hard because it's like, I guess that's what artists goes through, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes because, they could paint a canvas.
Yes.
And you could just hang it on the wall and like, what is that?
Yeah. It's subjective to each person.
But then somebody else comes and say, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yes, it's
beautiful. Amazing. Oh my God. And and then you look at that person like, did you get that?
Yeah. And it's the same piece of work.
Yes.
It's the same piece of work.
That goes to show you
it goes to show you
how unique the human mind is.
Yes. And that is beautiful. So
definitely, but that's what it is. So what are your future goals besides the Grace Academy? What do you have planned?
There's so much. I don't know if we have to. There's so
just one.
Just one.
Or two.
Or two. Oh my gosh. Definitely, of course, bringing in community again.
Yes.
I love to see people with my glasses on.
Keep those glasses on, girl.
I have to say it. I love to be in community. I love it.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to COVID to be abolished.
We got to pray on it.
Yes, forever. And to have gatherings again.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking forward to. Meeting new people, meeting new artisans, just really bringing in community in different ways back to Staten Island. That is one thing. The second thing is I'm looking forward to seeing what these new businesses are going to be. I am looking forward to several businesses opening this year.
Good.
That's what I'm looking forward to. And then every single year, that's what I look forward to, seeing our community shift one entrepreneur at a time.
Yes.
And creating legacy
Yes.
and more wealth in our community, especially
Definitely.
in Stapleton. I'm looking forward to that. It's not easy.
It's not, but it'll get done.
It will get done, and I'm looking forward to venturing out into different areas. And it doesn't have to be just Staten Island, just expanding myself more than just, one area. So I'm looking forward to just another day of life.
I hear you, girl. Well, we're gonna look forward to it, and and it's gonna be a great. We're hoping to have a better spring and summer. We could only pray.
Yes.
And hope that will happen, and just to have the community unite again, So we could only look forward to it, and maybe, me and you could collaborate on something bigger for the future. I don't have to be like, who's this Jessica?
Now you know. Now you know. I have the eyes.
Oh my God, it's so funny though. But I love it
you.
because it goes to show you that when you're starting something and you see things happening, you just want to get to know that person or what they're doing. So it's not something like, oh my God, what she and my It was just something I was admiring from afar. That's what it was. But it's a beautiful thing. Also, I wanted to give, before we wrap it up, something also that we don't talk about a lot, human trafficking. And I came across from your page to another young lady's page.
Yes.
And she's doing wonderful things to help out with the human trafficking. I don't know if the mainstream media mentions it as much as they should, but there has been a lot of women and children being found here in the United States and across the borders with trafficking. And that's something that is very serious.
Yes.
I mean, it's been going on for, who knows, for centuries.
Yes.
But, it's more and more and more and more is happening. So this beautiful young lady, she has her webpage. It's called tirzadesign.
Yes.
She makes jewelry, and from the purchases of her jewelry, I believe she puts it towards human trafficking program. So Tirza is spelled Tirza design. She's on Instagram, and I believe she has her own website as well.
Yes, tirzadesign.com.
And
She's in Missouri.
Yeah,
she's in Kansas, Missouri.
She's out there.
Survivor-made fashion. Every purchase empowers survivors and invests in the fight to end human trafficking.
Look at that.
Please support her.
Yes, please.
I don't even know who she is yet, but please support her.
But you know what? She's doing something amazing, and she's doing something that is very well needed.
Yes.
And we're not talking about it enough.
No.
And, children are being abused, and
Yes.
they're being trafficked, and we just got to make it more aware, And, but shout out to her. She's amazing for what she's doing, and God bless her business, and I hope she becomes in abundance. So, to her. So, Jessica, how can people find you?
Oh my gosh. So you could find me at Van Duzer Artisan Market on Instagram. That is the main, and then I'm also on Facebook, but mainly the Instagram. If you want to DM me, give it a couple times, please. Okay. I'm still a mom, but and she has to give it a couple. Because I'm sorry, emails get lost in the sauce. I don't even want to give you my email. The email gets lost in the sauce. The Facebook as well, I'm on there, but those are the Instagrams a little bit. I get it a little bit more fast on my phone, and I can see it more. So that's the best place I will recommend. And then from there, you'll start seeing with my advocacy group and the Grace Business Academy as well, with the pages and everything as I'm building that up. But sometimes you just got to go for it before you even build a page.
That's right.
Don't be hesitant. Oh, I got to build this. No, sometimes you just got to go.
Yeah.
You just got to go and then build it later.
That's right.
So that's where I'm at right now. I just ran with my foot on the ground. So that's where you can find me. And the words I would like to end for my part on is just to encourage whoever's listening. One, don't be afraid to be you. Mm-hmm. And you are unique.
Yes.
Be the best you that you can be.
Yes.
Because you don't want to die a copy. Right. You want to die an original.
That's right.
Be the best you. You don't need to be nobody else.
That's
you are it. So with that, just stay encouraged. Even if you're going through stuff, listen, things happen. But when you were called or whatever that gift, use your gifts.
Yes.
If that gift is talking, look what Marcy is doing.
Thank you.
Her gift of talking is helping, uniting other people, collaborating with other people, uplifting other people. That is a gift that she has.
Amen.
So you, whatever gift you have, take advantage. And then she's also a photographer. That's another gift. These are things that you probably done as a child.
Yes.
Take advantage of that. Take the time, invest in yourself, whatever that investment looks like. If it's a business class, if it's you joining the Grace Business Academy program, if it's you, reach out to Marcy and say, hey, I'm a photographer. How can I learn?
Right.
Like, whatever that is, do your passion. Definitely. You have one life. Today, tomorrow's not guaranteed.
It's not promised. That's right.
It is not promised. We do not know. So literally each moment, you take advantage of that moment. I just want to really put emphasis on that. So we are blessed every single day, but just be the best you can be, and you will be successful.
Definitely. Well, I thank you so much for those encouraging words. And I hope that whoever hears it out there, that they take it into consideration, because sometimes we need a little push, you know, and we need to hear encouraging words. And, perhaps that person doesn't have it at the moment, and now they heard you saying it. So we can only pray that is a positive outcome.
Yes.
So, but again, thank you so much, Jessica, for being here.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm humbled to be here.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
And until the next time, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Remember to catch the replay on our YouTube channel. All of the links will be posted on the Facebook page. And also in regards to the domestic violence, all of that information is going to be there. So hopefully you guys go to that page, YouTube, and also on Anchor. You can hear the audio podcast there as well. So thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. Until the next time. See you. Bye. Thank you so much.